Bills fans, what's up? I know back-to-back days of videos, right? Playoff football, Bills ties in some of these games, some names in free agency bandied about pertaining to the Bills, none of which I'm interested in, which is the main reason I'm doing this video. But there was an article dropped this weekend, well, this past week, I should say, maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't know. Just an article. Tim Graham, I love Tim Graham. And he's just basically, writing a story about how the Bills had an opportunity to hire Frank Reich back during when they ended up hiring Rex. And that there was those in the Bills organization that did not care to have somebody from the past of Frank's standing come back aboard. And there's all this scuttlebutt between Bills fans, other Bills fans. Oh, we could have Frank Reich. We could have Frank Reich. And then there's the guys, the contingent of, we had McDermott. We had McDermott. But, Frank's a legend, come back, all that stuff. So it turned into this thing. And my whole stance on it is, in order for the Pagulas to make the changes or allow the changes that needed to be made, they needed to go through that Rex catastrophe. They needed to see all the dysfunction firsthand, because they bought the team October of 14. The sale was finalized. They ended up making all the changes near the end of the 16 season. They needed to go through that and see, like, hey, this needs to be changed, that needs to be changed. And that's when McDermott came in with the street sweeper, cleaned it all out. I don't think that Frank Reich would have been you don't want to see Frank Reich fired. He's great where he is in Indy, and I'll talk about his game here in a few, but there was all that back and forth. And I don't ever want to see the Bills go through hell, but sometimes that was important for this ownership to see all the bullshit that been going on there. And when I make the video about them needing to fumigate, burn down the building, that's what I'm talking about. And they allowed for that to happen finally. But back to Frank Reich today. Again, we could have had. That team was not ready to play today. That Colts football team was not ready to play today with Andrew Luck at quarterback against the poorest defense. They got steamrolled. They had plenty of chances to get back on that game, and they were just not up to it. With Andrew Luck at quarterback, it just seemed totally off kilter, totally out of sync. Got out physical on both sides of the ball. I mean, you're going to understand that the Chiefs are going to get theirs on offense, but I didn't see, I just didn't see that they were ready to play. They just looked like they went over their heads today. And I don't think the Chiefs are that much better than them, but from a preparation standpoint, from a readiness standpoint, once the ball was snapped, it was not there. It was not there to be had. So be that as it may, I just don't think that, I think his took a little bit of a hit today. I know Andrew Luck been taking a lot of hits on Twitter, but that's always going to happen when you're the quarterback, and he didn't look good today. Point blank, he didn't look good. And all hats off to the Chiefs for making that happen. But Bills, I've seen some comments on the video I did last night about spending, everybody throwing around different ideas, different names, and this and that. And I have my own names. I see Roger Saffold. No thanks. He's older, been injured, probably going to want his last big contract, and his age. Not interested. I've seen things, cut star, cut this guy, cut that guy. You'd be able to do damn it. I'm like, look, the GM and the head coach had 2 separate press conferences, and they used the same word: judicious. Careful, thoughtful, mindful, prudent. That's the way I always want to be in free agency, because the Charles Clay contract, that's not judicious. That's haphazard. Mario Williams down the road hurts you. Marcel Darius just doing what he's, not having provisions in that contract that would have safeguarded you from taking those big cap hits at the back end of that contract is just not prudent. That's not judicious. Throwing this around, that around to try to meet mandates, or just let's do, no. Like, hey, we got to win that. No, anytime you put mandates on people in sports, things always go to shit. Anytime there's a mandate of a must win, there's things are going to go to shit. And you know what? I'm not saying I don't want the Bills to win. I want the Bills to win every fucking game they take the field. But everybody who wants the instant gratification next year in terms of a Super Bowl, I don't think you'll get it. Playoffs, I definitely hope so. I definitely hope they're in the playoffs. I hope I see a lot more competitive product, provided everything that's in place and things that are going to be put in place. So, be that as it may, a judicious offseason, smart offseason. If you get a chance to trade back in the draft, trade back. If you feel like you got a player there you can't pass up, you take him. Nice, smart, boom, 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 right on down the list. And things, too many things change in sports. Guys get injured, guys regress, guys that you didn't expect to flash, all of a sudden flash, and they're making impacts on your team, like a Levi Wallace, like a Robert Foster, guys of that nature. So unexpected things always happen in sports. You know, guys get injured and retire, a la Eric Wood. Guys go off the rails. Richie Incognito. You can't plan for that sort of stuff. It just happens. So you have to adjust on the fly. It's a constant adjustment on the fly. But judicious offseason. I have my names. I'm going to throw them out there to you guys. Let me know what you think. I'm of the opinion they need to rebuild this offensive line almost from the ground up. I mean, Deion Dawkins is the only player you can kind of slot in as a starter. I don't even know if it's at left tackle, but I think he's your only starter at this point. My own opinion, I've seen some names. The center from Denver, not interested. The Roger Saffold, no, not interested. Not many other names out there. For me, Greg Robinson. Bounced around the league, former second overall pick. You go back, you read about him. Everybody was consensus. Everybody, this guy's one of the best offensive linemen ever come out. You know, he had his rough spots, and you know, nothing was working for him in St. Louis to LA. Bounces around, settles in Cleveland this year. Played right back at left tackle. Played extremely well. Kept Baker Mayfield clean. They had a very good running football team. They had a lot better middle of their offensive line, but Greg Robinson really stabilized that left tackle position, especially after Joe Thomas retired, and they had I think Desmond Harrison, which was a 7th-round pick from Georgia State or some very small school, highly athletic guy. They tried to put him in there right away. It didn't work out. Robinson came in there and really stabilized that position. And his physical talent, his upside, the fact he looked like he's finally settled down in the league, and he's 26. I don't think you have to break the bank for him. I'm about a guy like that. A guy you probably have to break the bank for. Center, KC, Mitch Morse. Athletic, physical, definitely can move. It's a center. It's a very important position. You know, has playoff experience in a very complex offense. Andy Reid runs. Perfect guy for the Bills to go after on that offensive line. If they're looking for another pass rusher, Shaquille Barrett, Denver. A little undersized in that Jerry Hughes mold. Young, 26. Hasn't had a girth of sacks. Plays behind Miller, Chubb, Shane Ray. But I feel like he's a guy they can catch on the uptick if, you know, other people haven't sniffed him out already. Because I think that edge needs some youth. That line needs youth. And if they could get a guy like that for a good price, I'm all for it. But if he goes out, gets a chance to break the bank, can't hate on him for that either. Back to the offensive line. Guard, AJ Cann, Jacksonville. Physical, can move people, can move a little bit himself. Solid upgrade over either Miller or Dukas. Not that that's hard, but still, there's a guy you could look at also. So again, judicious spending, not haphazard, stupid spending. I'm a firm believer they should give Wyatt Teller a chance to earn a job on this offensive line. As far as skill positions go, a guy like Tyler Lockett is going to command a big price. Terrell Williams is going to command a big price probably. There was a couple of wide receivers I was looking at, but you never know who gets released. Again, who emerges out of nowhere. So that's going to be an interesting position to observe going into this offseason. Same thing with tight end. They got to do something at tight end. They've got to do something at tight end. They can't just rely on Jason Kroom. I think he's a guy you keep, but he's definitely not a guy you can just think you're all square there. But let me know what you guys think of those names, Bills fans. There's not the glut of names. It's the right time to be judicious because there isn't that, being haphazard is Le'Veon Bell. Being haphazard is Jadeveon Clowney. Not interested in that. No, thank you. Even with third most cap space, not interested in creating a hole where you don't need to create a hole, like cutting Jerry or cutting Starr. Don't need to do that. Why are you going to make a hole to just have to fill it? You take on dead money to just have to spend. No. Jerry's in the last year of his contract. Shady's in the last year of his contract. Now, you go half and half on Clay. I get that. He's nowhere. McCoy had a really rough year. Really rough year. But Clay looked shot. Clay looks completely shot. Now, do they need to add Young back? Of course they do. They need to add a few young backs. And if you see me on Twitter, you watch Damian Williams today for the Chiefs, and I say it, there's reason number 10, 100 million, 550,000, whatever. But you don't need to draft a running back in the top 3 rounds. They're there, readily available, have good solid blocking up front, good solid scheme, and you can make hay in the run game between tackles on the outs, on the edges. Just one rule: got to block on third down. Be a back on my football team, got to block on third down or no go. All right, Bills fans, enjoy the Dallas Rams game. Have a good one. Take care. Just want to throw some names at you, see what you think. Some thoughts about the Reich article, the way his team didn't perform for him today. Let me know what you guys think. Have a great weekend. Go Bills.